But it's kind of like, you know, everyone's heard this analogy. Do you know what I mean? It's like a knife.
Yeah.
Knives are great. I can't cut my sandwich without a knife. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I use knife wrong, knives are terrible. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Same with the digital world.
What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of the After You cast. Now, this is episode 1 of season 3. Welcome back to everyone. We are a few weeks ahead from where we previously finished, but we're also always evolving and moving in a positive direction. And I think this season is going to be a really interesting one for bringing on different people, also reconnecting with certain people that I haven't had on yet, but I've been meaning to, and today is definitely one of those days. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Thompson. What are you doing, my brother? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing very, very well. Very, very well. Yeah, thank you for having me on. Yeah, really good to see that the podcast is going so well.
Thank you,
obviously, like I say, from the genesis of, you know, always thought it was going to be a good idea and a positive introduction to the media world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm here. So I'm good. I'm good.
Good to hear, man. Good to hear. Well, honestly, firstly, it's it's a blessing to have you on here, brother, because, you know, for the audience, they may have remember seeing back in season 1, you know, episode 1, and even for the first few in that season, I was using Tony's coffee shop as a venue, and I reached out to Tony and I was like, I've got this idea, I've got this concept, and, I want to do a podcast. But, anyone out there that does content creation will understand, like, when you're looking for a space to get started, like, it's really, really difficult. You have to contend in, a lot of the times you're maybe not monetized, or you're working your way to get there. So when you're just starting out, you got to think about, like, okay, where am I going to go? A lot of people tend to have, prices attached. Places tends to be fees, and you've got to pay for different spots and things like that. So it can become a difficult issue. So, massive thank you to you, brother, for, allowing me to.
No, that's what it's all about. Like I say, connect and create community, man. That's 3 of the C's. Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
So, like I say, for me, anything I can do for people, I'll do. Do you know what I mean? If I think something's going to be a positive outcome, then I'm all about it. Do you know what I mean? Regardless of what space it fills, whether it's creative, whether it's sport, whether it's financial, whether it's, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I think it's a positive move, I'm all about it. If I can help, then that's what I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, see, that's one thing that I really respect about you as an individual as well too, is, again, another little short bit of information for the audience. Our relationship and friendship goes back to primary school days. I brought a few people on here that I've gone to school with since primary school days, and even in secondary. But I've never had somebody on that remembers me from those times. Do you know what I mean? It's different when you grow up with people at the same age and you're in class together. But I remember Tony back when he had his dreads and he was coming after school, and a lot of you guys out there in the Slough community remember him too. After school programs, him and Lawrence, training.
For sure.
And that was really a lot of young people, especially my age group's first little taste of, like, after school football, and bringing that real flavour of what football's all about, as opposed to making it just like, throw some cones down and have fun. Man, I really want to highlight and just again let people know how time can evolve, and how certain people, the way you carry yourself, the connections that you make, it's important to never retract the ladder whenever you make bits of success. So you never forget about people who, at a time when you wasn't really there, maybe gave you a helping hand, a little bit of advice, things like that. Never forget about those people as you get, you grow along in life. Do you know what I mean? And that's part of the reason why we can sit down today, have this conversation.
I mean, I remember those days very, very vividly. And it was a time where, Slough Town Football Club was doing bits and pieces in and around the town. Shout out to Lloyd Owusu.
Yeah, man.
And they were, so that's how my introduction to the schools through Slough Town. Lawrence, Lloyd, Del Preddy, shout out to Del. And we were going into schools. Now, for an amount of years, myself and Lawrence in particular went into every single school in Slough.
Oh wow!
For about 10 years. There's a 10-year period. Whereas if you were sporty, football, we worked with you.
Yeah,
100%. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Do you know what I mean? So there's like a 10-year group of guys and girls who we worked with from Slough.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And our thing was all about accessibility because we know not everyone in Slough's got money like that.
True.
So when we ran our camps, we made sure that there was a price level which everyone could afford.
Yeah.
And if you really couldn't afford it, we'll help you out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I like that.
Yeah,
that's respect. That's real community.
Well, it's all about the community. But the same thing as well, because we weren't doing it for the money, we were able to bring that slightly more competitive attitude for those who've got that kind of potential.
I get you.
Do you know what I mean? So we're never turning anyone away. It doesn't matter what your ability is.
Yeah.
But if you've got that ability, we want you to show it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I hear you.
And so from those little roots, a whole heap of guys have gone on to be athletes, to be footballers, to do whatever it is they need to do, including even music.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, it's the same attitude you need to bring to whatever venue you're going to play in.
Facts.
Do you know what I mean? Whether it's business, whether it's art, whether it's sport, whether it's dance, you still have to have that determination, consistency in your approach, your willingness to try and get to where you want to get to.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a big part of what we do. Sorry, why we did what we do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Was for the others who we work with to reach those levels and understand their potential. You know what I mean? Because when you look at it now, our first group we worked with are like 38.
That's mad, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean?
That's crazy. Yeah. That's
mad. Some of them have got grown kids. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Family now.
That's
a crazy amount of time to think about people you've seen grow from being children.
Yeah, and and there's a whole heap of the kids who were told you can't be in school. Do you know what I'm saying? Come and work with us. So we'll take them on work experience.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? 14, 15 years old, they'll be doing work experience with us. But you can't be in school because you can't behave yourself. So we take them on a full day, 2 days a week sometimes.
Yeah.
Some of them are now the sports leaders. Do you know what I mean? The sports teachers, the sports coordinators for schools in Slough.
Yeah, that's the time.
Do you know what I mean?
Manifests and creates amazing things.
So it's all about positive outcomes, man. You know what I mean?
Well, see, that's one thing again that is another point that I really like to highlight in majority of the content that I create and energy that I carry in myself. Because I've been afforded certain opportunities and certain people have, like you just said, been there at those times where you're trying to develop, create, find yourself, and like I said, a lot of us we don't really have much money. Some of us come from the working class. A lot of us come from the working class. So a lot of our, especially young boys, their introduction into after school programs or groups was usually through sport or music. So things like Shoutout, SYPC, and Rotunda Club.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, things that you was doing. There's a lot of people. Shout out to Tina Brooks, rest in peace, who was doing a lot of different community projects, and we're all kind of dotted around in different places. And I think now, since the advent of technology, what happened is some people went online, some people didn't. Some people travelled to new places and got big, made successful, but there isn't any general information of people who come from where we come from, of what they're currently doing or what they've done. So I think what we need to start is from the documentation side of things. We need to start with the documenting of our stories, whether it's digital, whether we host events, whether we do things that don't just, it's not just this person did that person did this, and it's like, it's nice to shout about. It's more of, how can we create these accessible lanes, like you talked about, the work you're doing, where you create things people can come to. I will take over certain things, and it might not just be in your lane with sport. It could also blend into music, entertainment, art, finance, and even now AI, robotics, technology, futures. There's a lot of different industries you can take. So what I'd say is, for just as a general point of view to people out there, is we're moving into a time where like technology requires us to document our stories, and sometimes it can be seen as just throwing out podcasts, throwing out social media and stuff, but I think it's a lot more to do with us wanting to tell our version of our stories.
I mean, telling your story is an important thing, for a number of different reasons, and it's not only telling the successes. You know what I'm saying? You got to tell stories of the pitfalls, so people can avoid those pitfalls if they can, and see them coming. Or if they find themselves in that pitfall, how do you navigate your way out of it? Do you know what I mean? And it's not about telling people what to do; it's about giving people options. Do you know what I'm saying?
Very true.
Because not everything is for everyone. And so, what worked for me might not work for you. But this is what I did. You might be able to take some parts from that. Do you know what I mean? Listen to what she said and what he said. Put that together to come up with a plan to navigate whatever situation you've got to navigate. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But you can't do that if you don't hear people's stories. Do you know what I mean? Or see people's journeys. You can't do that. And there's a bit of a disconnect. I mean, the times we're in right now, and my generation is most probably, maybe slightly a generation above me, just maybe, might be the craziest generation. Do you know what I'm saying? Living at the moment. Do you know what I'm saying? And the reason I say that is the changes we've seen in how society works. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, if you're a little bit more than that, the generation beyond my mum's generation, you might not be accessing the stuff that the youth today are accessing. Do you know what I'm saying? You might be like, you know what, I'm too old for all of that. But if you're my generation, or maybe just a bit older than me, you know, into the 60s and whatnot, you're most probably still accessing it. But you're going to sit down and say, when I was 10, there was no mobile phone. There was 3 channels on the TV. There was no internet. Do you know what I mean? And all those things. So today it's like an oxymoron almost, because there's no better time to connect. It's the easiest time to ever connect with people. Do you know what I'm saying? Because of the tools you have available to you. But them same tools make it the easiest time to be isolated. Do you know what I'm saying? You know,
I talk about this quite a lot as well. So true. It's we're more connected but more disconnected.
Do you know what I mean? So you got to have that mix and blend. And so without that generational communication, the values which someone might have of meeting up face to face. Do you know what I'm saying? Going down the park and kicking ball. Do you know what I'm saying? Those humane values of physical connection could easily get lost. Do you know what I mean? Because you won't put your value in that. Why do I need to go and see Jonesy? Why I can put him on FaceTime. You know what I mean? What's the point?
Exactly. But I wouldn't say with excuses. It's just more easier ways, quicker ways for you to make that connection.
Absolutely.
But it removes, like you said, that physical connection.
It removes that physical
connection we're having now. If this would have been over Zoom, I say this all the time when I have podcasts. It's the intensity, the realism of the conversation is different. When you're there, you can pick up on cues, you can pick up on social things and little details, and like, okay, I didn't think of it that way. Whereas when it's more digital, it's that disconnection is already there.
There's a disconnect, and if you're not careful, and if you don't get that balance right, because I'm first of all, I'm saying the digital world is fantastic. That's the first thing I'm saying. I think it's insanely amazing. But it's kind of like, you know, everyone's heard this analogy. Do you know what I mean? It's like a knife. Knives are great. I can't cut my sandwich without a knife. Do you know what I mean? But I use knives wrong, knives are terrible. Do you know what I'm saying? Same with the digital world. Do you know what I'm saying? Used right, it's fantastic. Great. Do you know what I mean? Beyond whatever your imagination can come up with,
fire.
it's there. Do you know what I'm saying? But used wrong, Do you know what I mean? You want to isolate yourself from the world? Do you know what I mean? You want to develop, negative thoughts, surround yourself in a negative bubble? That's easily done.
True. That is very easily done. Yeah,
it's easily done. I mean,
and you know what's mad as well? I'd like to add as well. Sometimes, if you haven't had a moral, if you haven't had a foundation instilled in you from a young age, a good foundation, you may not even realise that the things that you're doing are negative,
100%.
like you just said. So you may be going through operating, thinking, "Oh, this isn't that bad. What I'm doing isn't that big of an issue," until some serious issue happens on the line and it slaps you in the face and reminds, okay, wow, and now I've got some repercussions.
And sometimes you don't even notice it, even then. I'll give you an example. So obviously in my coffee shop I see a lot of people, and I'm a talker. Do you know what I mean? You come in, I'm going to talk to you. Do you know what I mean? I'm not just going to say hello. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to talk
start
to you.
a conversation.
Do you know what I mean? Right?
I like that.
And a lot of people who come in, I'm the only person they talk to. And I speak to them, I'm like, oh, so what do you do? Oh, I don't do anything. You never see your friends? I haven't really got friends. And some of these are young. Some of them, they're like in their 20s. Some of them are old. Some of them, they're like 40, 50, 60, 70. Do you know what I mean? All different age groups. But some people are out there totally isolated. So what do you do? I read, I go online a bit. And so they believe they're getting all their cognitive nourishment through, swipe. Do you know what I mean? And there's no human connection. So when they come in and I have a little chat with them, it's like brand new to them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Refreshing.
You want to sit on, and then they're back every week. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm like, you need to, we have, there's other things you can do. Just try, and half of the time the reason they don't do stuff is they're scared.
Fear mindset.
There's fear of the unknown. Do you know what I mean? Like it's hilarious. It's hilarious. So you get people who come in and they ask for a sandwich or whatever, and they'd be like, I'm like, we've got Jamaican patties. I don't know if I like that. I'd be like, exactly. You don't know. I mean, give it a go, you might like it.
You wouldn't say it's alright, innit?
You know what I mean? I'm like, exactly. But that's the world.
That's
the world.
So true.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying jump off a cliff and see if it's good. Of
course.
Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, there's experience to have that will enrich you. And the more you are enriched, the more you will understand. The more you understand it, the more you will accept. Do you know what I'm saying? And the more you can understand, the more you know what not to accept.
That's true.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's big facts.
Because if you don't understand stuff,
you fall in.
I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to say this. Not everything is okay. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, you're good. I agree.
Not everything is okay, and sometimes you have to say no. That behaviour is not okay. I'm not a hater.
No.
I'm not, PC. It's not okay. But if you don't have an understanding of the world, if you've not enriched your knowledge and understanding, you can't make those assessments.
That's very true. And I mean, it becomes a level of insensitivity that a lot of people develop because it become more of a confidence in my opinion, confidence in myself, which is great. Whereas you like you said, without that balance, you forget about the other extrinsic parts, the people that helped you get there. The other things you didn't pay attention to that helped line that up for you. So like you said, we become these. It's kind of like cognitive dissonance. It's like where we believe we know, but we don't really truly know a lot, and then it affects relationships. It affects interactions with people. So man, that's big information, and also guidance and information and knowledge to other people out there. It's like getting people to tap in and be more aware of the things that they actually do and the way that they interact with people makes a huge difference, because I see it with people I work with as well, young people especially today, especially in technology. Everybody wants to be this YouTuber, this social media influencer, this character, without actually developing their personal self first. It's you haven't travelled enough, you haven't read enough, you haven't explored and ingested enough culture for you to really be well versed and be able to go out and have these conversations. 100%. And then, like you said, then they develop the fear because now you're just placing your mindset online when you can't have these interactions, like things like, oh man, this is refreshing, having a conversation. This is where we're at a point where conversations, physical interactions are becoming strained and less common, more
Yeah,
popular.
well, I'll tell you one of the things, and I think this is something that young people need to, not even young people, I'm not going to use that term, people need to understand. It's okay to disagree with your mates. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's okay to not agree on everything, but there's an etiquette to being to a disagreement.
Yeah, to being disagreeable.
I don't have to argue with you because we disagree.
Yeah.
I don't have to hate your guts because we disagree.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? You know, but at the same time, even though you might make a point which I disagree with, I also have to understand I could still be wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though right now I'm not really
yeah.
feeling that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, Mane's better than Salah. Or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Even though this is what I believe right now, until I get all the information, which I will never ever have, I have to have an understanding and be humble enough to say, this is what I believe, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I don't agree with you right now, but I know I could be wrong, you could be right.
Yeah.
And having that attitude allows for understanding. When I think there's no way I can be wrong,
Yeah.
I can't learn.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't move on.
You're closed off. You're closed
Do
off.
you know what I mean? I might be right, but I have to believe there's a possibility.
Yeah. It doesn't leave no room for growth
Do
either.
you know what I'm saying?
Because even if you are right, like you said, you're not going to grow on it
Exactly.
or maybe improve upon it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is especially with sport. You would have seen it yourself.
Fact, yeah.
You've seen these players. They think they're the bomb. They're already the best that you could ever be.
You can't tell them nothing.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know.
And I say to players all the time, listen, once you think you're good enough, you're not good.
That's facts. That is the biggest facts ever.
Do you know what I mean?
And you get little moments when you play kickball as well, like where you feel yourself a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
Those are the times you always you're reminded. Where you go into a game a little complacent. You have a little bit of an attitude. You don't train as hard. Catches up with you. There's always that's the beautiful thing about sport. There's consequences to your inadequacies, and that's the difference in life. They've brought in this new wave of thinking where you can be inadequate and be wrong, and we will still champion and respect that the same way as you doing the right things. And this is where young people are confused. They're like, hold on, what do I know what is right or wrong then? If everything's right, everything's an opinion, everything's okay, it's not. Certain things are wrong. They need to be told they're wrong, especially if it's factually wrong.
I think the thing is with right and wrong, it's a tricky one because people will say, okay, what are you basing your rights and wrongs on? And I thoroughly agree with that.
Yeah.
But it's what are you basing your rights and wrongs on? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you don't know, if you haven't studied yourself, if you haven't, when I say studied yourself, I mean studied yourself.
Yeah. I hear that.
Yeah. You won't have a basis to what your beliefs are. Do you know what I'm saying? Malcolm X has got a statement, where he says, the man who stands for nothing will fall for anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's so true.
If you have got no principles, if you've not really thought about what you truly believe, then you won't have a right and wrong.
Yeah.
And what I believe is right might not be what you believe is right. And it's okay to disagree.
Yeah.
But what are you basing your opinions on?
Yeah.
What are you basing your thoughts on? Do you know what I mean? Have you actually objectively and logically broken down how you got to that final statement?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into this right now. But, one of the hot topics right now is the gender debate.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a very...
And I'm not going to get into it about what's just done, whatever. But whatever's lane you play in, have you broke it down? Do you know what I'm saying? Have you broke it down? Yeah. So when you disagree with someone, are you coming from a point that you truly believe and understand why you have your thoughts?
Yeah, or are you doing it because you've maybe heard something?
You've heard it online.
Yeah.
You've heard it online 100 times, but you've only heard this once.
Yeah.
So this must be correct.
Yeah. Is it a numbers thing?
Do you know what I mean?
As we know, education is mostly about repetition.
Do you know what I mean? So, and this goes down to choices in life. Do you know what I mean? So you're choosing this lane over this lane because this is the popular lane.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? That lane might not be for you.
It's true.
Do you know what I mean? So have you looked at yourself?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I agree. I hear where you're coming from. I mean, it's that essence of doing enough intrinsic work over a period of time to be able to formulate a good enough...
I'll give you a perfect example. Young lad, a bit older than you, used to play football for me, my little brother.
Yeah.
And good footballer, very good footballer. And he had the opportunity to go to the Crystal Palace Academy.
Okay, yeah.
At the time. It's about 15, 16.
Yeah.
But he was already in the England setup for hockey.
Okay.
Right? So he's like, man, I want to do the footy. I'm like, why do you want to do the footy? He's like, well, I enjoy footy. Do you enjoy hockey? Yeah. Which do you enjoy most? What are you saying? Do you know what I mean? So, but he was so desperate to do the football because of its popularity.
The pull.
Do you know what I'm saying?
The pull.
That popularity.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not saying, I couldn't give him which way to go.
Of course.
Do you know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know what, you need to sit down with your parents and all the rest of it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But he ended up going Olympics with hockey.
Good. No, that was good. Yeah, good for my opinion.
Do you know what I'm
I
saying?
see where you're coming from for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, you've got to find yourself.
Yeah.
You've got to find yourself.
Yeah, and that is a huge reason why I think this conversation in general is a great one to have, is because I'm very much the advocate for, you know, young people who are coming into the world, not chasing popular routes, not chasing popular trends, but, you know, honing in on what it is that they're actually passionate about, and finding people, if they can have them in their family, fantastic. Some people, they have very supportive families, some people have difficult ones, but ultimately you're still going to want to do what you're passionate about, and it can be more difficult in certain areas. But I would advocate for young people to, you know, really hone in on the things they are passionate about, not because it's the popular thing or because there's a, you know, a monetary amount at the end of it. I think it needs to be rooted in what your core passions are.
Well, I think the thing is right now, and it's a difficult one. I mean, I've managed to navigate it somewhat. Do you know what I mean? The route to where I've got at the minute has been a very strange one. But doing things that you're passionate about and making a career of something you're passionate about, very different.
Very different.
Do you know what I'm saying? And for me, I'm always about do what you're passionate about. It might not be what makes you your money, but what you're passionate about is going to keep you alive. Do you know what I mean? It's going to keep your spirit going. It's going to keep a smile on your face. It's going to keep your cognition going. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you might be doing a job that you're not passionate about, but you got to pay the bills. You got to keep the lights on, like we spoke about earlier.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing stuff that you're also passionate about, if you're a footballer and you love football, but you can't make money for football, go and play football.
Yeah.
You know, if you like playing the clarinet, get yourself a clarinet, play that clarinet, go up and go work in the morning. Do you know what I'm saying? So can keep them passions in your life.
Yeah.
Whatever they are.
It's this or.
It's not
that.
either or.
It's and.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, if you get to the point where your passion becomes a career, then you've won, innit?
Yeah, that's you know, the magic recipe.
Do you know what I mean? Then you've won. And, you know, work towards it. I mean, I saw a very inspiring clip online, you may have seen it yourself. And it's this guy, he runs up to millionaires or billionaires, I don't know, whatever, in America, and he asks them silly questions. And he tends to run up and say, you know, what's the best bit of advice you can give to someone who's coming up? I mean, like, on the spot. And this guy's gone, the best thing I've ever heard, I don't know if it's advice, was from my dad, he says. He says, if you knew you was not going to fail, what would your dreams be? What would you be dreaming of doing? And what would you attempt to achieve if you knew you wasn't going to fail? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's deep. I mean, just off the thinking of that, it makes me think about the mindset, the fear mindset, the abundance mindset.
That's
of
what
like,
absolutely.
Don't operate in the essence of why should I, how can I, can it work, all of these, as opposed to this is what I like to do, how can I make it work, this is how can I, you know, create it, how can I actually make it a real thing.
This is what I want to do, what are the paths to lead me there? Do you know what I mean? That's the mountain I want to climb. Okay, which direction is my first step? Do you know what I mean? Because that's where I want to go. So I'm gonna try and get there. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what I want to do. Or I can turn around and say, "Ooh, that's high, isn't it?" Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I think that idea of passion and that idea of drive, because at the end of the day, life is life, and not everyone can get what they want.
That's true.
Do you know what I'm saying? And that's all right.
Yeah, it's important.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's the nature.
But how have you? Did you try?
Yeah.
Did you give it a go?
Yeah. And for how long?
Do you know what I mean? And for how long? You've got to give yourself time to achieve.
Yeah,
do you know what I
try
mean?
things and it's like, oh, it
Do you know
didn't
what I mean?
work.
I mean, first time, you've got to give yourself time to achieve. And I think that's the one thing which generationally has got worse.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I don't like talking about one generation to the next generation and putting them up against each other.
Yeah,
I don't really feel
I
that's a
know
thing. I don't, because it's all mix and blend.
Yeah.
But definitely something that's changed is over the time. It's become more and more microwavable life. We want it like this. Ping.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, overnight success.
Ping.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can happen. It can happen. But you shouldn't expect that to be the way for it to happen.
Yeah.
And you've got to give it a go. Again, I saw a wicked illustration. And there's these two miners, they're mining for gold, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And have you seen this
I
one?
know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. And so one of
I'll
them...
pull it up actually while you're talking.
He's digging, do you know what I mean? And there's other guys digging over there, and bing, and he finds a little bit of gold, and he runs off. This guy's over there, he's digging, and looks over, so he runs over there, not knowing if he had digged a little bit longer over there,
there's a
the
massive
fortune.
Yeah, the biggest diamond.
Do you know what I mean?
The way biggest, big thing.
And so, like I say, you've got to give yourself time to succeed. Yeah. Another one is, I can't remember how the story goes now, but it's something along the lines of, you know, this guy buys some seeds and he plants the seeds. You know, so some, I don't know, oak tree or whatever, I don't know where the seeds are. Doesn't really matter, some kind of tree. Yeah. And no one else has known he's planted them seeds. And he's watering the ground. Do you know what I mean? People walk past. Really? I'm watering the ground. Before. We'll see. Do you know what I mean? Carries on watering the ground. People are like walking past daily. Bro, you're mad. What are you watering the ground for?
Yeah, nothing's happening.
Do you know what I mean? Nothing's happening. Keep watering the ground.
Yeah.
We'll see.
What's going on here?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know? Next thing you know.
He's filling in for the rain.
Do you know what I mean? Sprouts start coming up. Do you know what I mean? Things start growing. Oh! Now people are surprised.
Wonder.
Do you know what I'm saying? And the point I'm making about that is there's two things. One, give yourself time to grow. If you don't water the ground, it ain't gonna grow.
Yeah.
But I don't have to shout about it while I'm watering the ground. People can see it once it starts growing.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have to be saying, yeah, look, I'm doing it. I don't have to do that. Just do what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because you want to do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it because everyone else wants you to do it. Do you know what I mean? But give yourself time, give yourself the opportunity for whatever you're doing to grow and flourish.
Yeah.
But it's not going to grow if you don't water it, i.e. it's not going to grow if you don't put the work in. Do you know what I mean? And I think this microwave times that we live in, some people don't want to give it time. They don't want to see it, they want it like this. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's one of those situations whereby it can lead to a lot of negative decisions. We all know what happens on the streets. Do you know what I mean? And that's that we need that quick hit. We need that money now.
Yeah.
I need that money tomorrow.
Yesterday.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you're gonna make decisions that allow you to have that. And those decisions ain't always the best decisions. Give yourself time to grow, give yourself the space to grow, give yourself the opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
But that means you need to put the work in. Do you know what I mean? And once you build up that foundation, no matter what you do, it doesn't matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
It can take the hits.
Yeah.
Because you've got a steady foundation.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's prepared. It's prepared to weather the storm.
And that for me, those lessons right there are key.
Yeah.
Especially to this today's generation.
Yeah.
Because so many people are watering their plant. They're watering and they're not telling people.
Yeah, man.
But what you see is the end product online.
That's it.
And you think, oh, they've only been doing that for 2 minutes. No, they've been watering that tree for a couple of years.
That's it. That's big facts. Yeah. Long time.
So I mean, you didn't see them. You didn't see the sprouts
before. Yeah, things that you don't see, you won't see.
You know what I mean? You know, people don't know what you've been doing, how you've got to where you are now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
But you're here now, and they're hearing you now. Do you know what I mean? You don't know all the knockbacks you might have had.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But it makes me think, for something that you said earlier in the conversation, talking about it's important to not to shout about the successes, but also the pitfalls.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, what you just broke down is just, I think, is so key and fundamental to not just young people. I think people in general. I think giving time to grow allowing things to germinate, to blossom.
Absolutely.
It takes time. It takes more time than you think it's going to take.
Yeah.
And, you know, let's take things back a little bit, because I think to make that even more poignant, you know, highlighting what you did previously with your football and things like that, giving people a little bit of a reference into what you do now, because, you know, people see the shop and they'll just be like, oh, you know, he just jumped into the shop, probably had some people back in they won't know. They don't know the upbringings and actual the ins and outs that go into it, but I know that you're doing very well now. So, you know, give us a little bit of a breakdown of how that those years of football transitioned into what you're doing now.
Excuse me. It's crazy. So, cut long story short, for those who don't know, started off coaching in sports, football, basketball, athletics, and all the rest of it. Working for myself, started a little coaching organisation for myself. Teamed up with Slough Town. That's how I met Lawrence and Co. Boom, boom, boom. Them days when I first kicked off coaching, I was like 19. Do you know what I mean? Wow. Met Loz and them, Slough Town, early 20s most probably. Bish bash bosh. Then when we was going into schools, we kind of broke away from Slough Town. Slough Town went with a kind of strange transition. Broke away from Slough Town. Started Sports Inc. With Lawrence. Going into all the schools in Slough. But then the contracts changed how the schools wanted to work. So they wanted stuff more in-house. So it's a bit more difficult to get all the contracts with the schools. So I was like, okay, right, I need to be ready and prepared in case it keeps going in that direction. So I went back, got trained up as a teacher, because I already had my sports degree. So that's why I did my teaching degree.
At that point, more of the flexibility.
Of course. Then at that point, they pulled all the money back from external. Do you know what I mean? Like literally all of it.
Just retracted everything.
And so at that point I was like, okay, this is tough. So we had a couple of schools. I was like, okay, so that's when I went into teaching full time.
Cool.
So I was teaching full time for quite a while, still doing the stuff in the holidays, after school clubs here and there, Then I was at one particular school which wasn't run particularly well. And the behaviour management in the school was atrocious. And so the behaviour in the school was atrocious. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it the other way round. That's the way round it goes. The behaviour management is bad.
Don't point at the kids.
Do you know what I'm saying? So the behaviour is bad.
Don't point at the children.
Do you know what I mean? Right? So, but because the behaviour was so bad, it was not an enjoyable experience.
Of course not.
Do you know what I'm saying? I can remember coming home one day and thinking, I've been angry all day.
That's not good.
Do you know what I mean? I've been angry all day. Whereas I teach because I enjoy teaching. Do you know what I'm saying? So I thought, this can't be right. So it was at that point I thought, what else can I do? What else would I like to do? I don't drink. Never even had an alcoholic beverage in my life. So I hang out a lot in coffee shops. But a lot of coffee shops are whack. Do you know what I mean? They're so generic and boring. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
So I'm like, man, this is some
life.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like, this don't make.
That's some flavour in there.
I started thinking, looking out for better coffee shops. People go to these independents. When I go to independent, all independent coffee shops are the same. Do you know what I mean? Very few decent ones. Do you know what I mean? That's a lie. They're nice.
And I know what you mean in terms of like they have this kind of rustic, hipstery type of vibe.
They're all basically the same.
They all do raw coffee.
So I was like, I don't know, that more kind of like, not so much themed, but themed. Do you know what I mean?
There's a bit of a style.
Because you go in there and as a black man, do you know what I mean? I'm like, I want to be in a place where I feel comfortable. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be I'm black, black. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, it's comfortable.
So just some representation, some of your touches, some of your culture.
Hear 1, 2 tunes, see one piece of art on the wall. Do you know what I mean? So I was in New York and I thought, there's got to be somewhere in New York, innit? There's got to be somewhere in New York. I went around all the 5 boroughs, couldn't find nothing. So I was like,
it's crazy.
Does it not exist? Now, obviously, New York, because I'm a hip hop guy, I would have thought it would have been there. I said to myself, how hard would it be to do? No, I don't even drink coffee. Do you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I don't drink coffee. I've never made a coffee in my life. I like hanging out in a coffee shop. I get my hot chocolate, have a cup of tea, little cake. You know what I mean? Talk, rubbish all day.
Chat,
So I'm like, let me look into it. So I got myself trained up as a barista.
Okay.
That's the first step.
Yeah. I got a little experience of that at uni too. It's good.
Did a little course on running a coffee shop and all them kind of things. Then jumped in with 2 feet.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean? Did a pop-up up in Old Street, in the tube station.
Ah, okay.
In the tube station, yeah.
Nice.
So anyone who knows Old Street, you'll know they got all the shops downstairs.
Yeah.
And mad expensive.
Yeah.
Great time. We were there for about 2 months. Great time.
Yeah.
Wasted so much money.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know anything.
Of course. Because you're just learning the
But
game.
but that money was spent on learning. Do you know what I mean? That's what happened.
Yeah.
I learned there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
See, that's a great point, by the way, because technically it's a loss. But the way the mind you set is
exactly.
set, you see it as education.
Absolutely.
That's a very, very key.
So then I took that, and then we did another pop-up in North London, around the corner from Arsenal.
Yeah.
Anyone who knows that area, Blackstock Road, little pop-up. We was there for another two months. Learned a lot. Didn't make a lot of money. At the time, I was still teaching.
Okay.
So I was doing these kind of through the summer, so I took a bit of time off either side of the summer holidays. Do you know what I mean? So I had the 6-week summer holiday, and then so just before the summer holidays, did a bit. Just after the summer holidays, did a bit. So that's where the 2 pop-ups happened. Does that make sense? So I was still a full-time teacher, so I was still getting paid. So I didn't, even though I didn't make much money from the shop, I was cool. My pockets were fine. And then I thought, okay, right, I've got a bit of an idea now how this is going to work, but I knew the concept worked. Do you know what I'm saying? I knew people felt comfortable in the space. I knew people coming in and saying, okay, this is different. You know what I mean? This is cool.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? People are asking me, is this a franchise? All these kind of things. I'm like, could be.
Could be.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It gives you packs up your brain.
And so put it on pause for a little while, kind of a couple of months, and then we opened up in Willesden Green.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And we was there for about 2 years, and that went really well.
Yeah.
Had some really nice events, connections. I mean, all the spots, the connections we made were fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, for those who are not sure what I'm going on about, it's Tone Coffee Shop.
Yeah.
And it's not a themed coffee shop, but you walk in there and you know it's hip hop.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
You know it's hip hop. You know,
the style, the art,
exactly the art. You know, it's
music.
You know, we got the music, we got the books.
Yeah.
You know, we sell local people's artwork.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We hold the events. You know, we try and make all the events free.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So you know, try and get it funded and all that kind of stuff. And so we was in High Wycombe for like 2 years. That was really good. You know, we held hustings. For those who don't know what hustings is, it was basically a general election. So we had all the Brent candidates come in, and people could come in and give them the questions.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? So I hosted that. Do you know what I mean?
Nice.
Shout out to Dawn Butler. So she's the Labour candidate out in Brent, and so that was cool. But so everything from poetry things to hip hop events to grime events, whatever, you know, it was all about that. And so we was there, and that was really cool. But the issue with that particular venue, it didn't allow for the growth I needed as a business.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? It wasn't built for purpose for a coffee shop.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like square pegs in round holes.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So I made it work as much, but the amount of money I would have had to put in to turn it into what I wanted it to be in didn't make sense. So I put it on pause for a little while, and then Josh Parker,
shout out to Josh,
was like, yeah, Tone, they're doing Box Park up in High Wycombe. You should do your coffee shop in High Wycombe. And I was like, they're doing Box Park in High Wycombe?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. I'm like, you sure? He's like, yeah. So I went up there, because before it'd been made, and you know, they got all the containers up and everything. I was like,
so we can,
okay.
All right.
You know what I mean, I'll get in before it's finished. I mean, get a little bit of squeeze on the rent and whatnot.
That's the one.
But anyone who knows what Box Park is, this ain't Box Park.
Don't come down thinking like you're about to get like it's about to be Wembley or Shoreditch chatting like that.
Yeah, Box Park. Well, you know, we do our best to make it Box Park.
Yeah, man.
And so that's how come we ended up in High Wycombe. It was Josh's idea.
Cool.
And we've been there now for over 3 years.
Yeah.
With all kind of events. Yeah. You know, we're you know, still a part of the community. Selling artwork. Yeah. We've got the books. And the thing about culture and people's access to culture is you don't have to slap people in the face.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You don't have to go, respect my culture. Don't have to do that. So when you walk into Tone Coffee Shop, you walk in, you're going to look around and you're going to see the artwork. You're going to be okay, I don't see this artwork normally in coffee shops. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're going to see one or two things in the coffee shop you're not going to see in other coffee shops. You know what I mean? You're going to get your Jamaican patty. Do you know what I mean? A bit of jerk chicken and rice. Do you know what I mean? You're going to see the super malt. Do you know what I mean?
Shout out to the malt.
Right? So, you know, you're going to see all these things. Then you're going to go over to the bookshelf.
Yeah.
And you're going to see books
Yeah.
that you're not going to see in other coffee shops. Do you know what I mean? You pick them up, you sit down, you're going to have a little read.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so what's happening now is you got people who are looking for that. They know where they can come.
Okay.
But you're also getting people who ain't looking for it, who are just finding it.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
you're
stumbling across.
Yeah. Then they're coming in. They just want a latte and sit down and have a bit of a chill.
Yeah.
So they come in. They're going to hear the music.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be anything from, do you know what I mean, Isaac Hayes to Wu-Tang. Do you know what I mean? Might even be a bit of reggae. It could be Jill Scott. Do you know what I mean? So that's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And then you come in, you want a little latte, you look at the books, and you're going to see Black Britain in photography. What's that? You're going to pick it up.
Shout out to my photographers.
Do you know what I mean? And then you got the whole history of photography, of the black culture.
Yeah.
From we're not talking decades.
Yeah.
We're talking centuries. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, you're going to see Hip Hop Saved Me, as, you know what I mean, on the shelf.
Yep.
You're going to see the biography rather, of Malcolm X on the shelf.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? You're going to see graphic novels on the shelf. You know what I mean? The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a whole load of things which culturally I'm part of and a part of me that are just there for you to absorb
and experience.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then on more than that, and the one thing that happens in the coffee shop more than anything else, I touched on it earlier, this conversation. And you're going to be in a coffee shop, and you're not going to know the person sitting at the table next to you.
Yeah.
But if you're there for more than 15 minutes, you're going to be talking with them.
It's true. It's happened every time.
Do you know what I mean?
I've gone there. Yeah.
And that's what happens. And then next time you're in, how are you doing?
That's it.
And this community is growing and growing and growing, and you're getting these connections.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And people are feeling more valued. Do you know what I'm saying?
As opposed to maybe they first came in and they were just looking for a coffee.
Yeah.
As opposed to coming in looking for a conversation.
Absolutely.
Changes the narrative.
You know, and through that, you know, I'm still learning. Do you know what I mean? I'm not even close to thinking, I'm finished.
Yeah. No.
Not even close. For me, even though I'm like 3.5, almost 4 years in, I'm still just learning. I'm still like at the start of this journey. Do you know what I mean? Because like,
your feet wet.
you know, I've got my little spot in High Wycombe, and ideally I'd want a spot in Slough.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That would be ideal for me.
Yeah.
Keep the one in High Wycombe.
Yeah, of course.
But have one in Slough.
Expand, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And have one another. So the same experiences can be met. You know, because it's not just about selling a latte.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? The space allows things to happen. Without the coffee shop, I don't do the events.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean? Without the events, people don't get opportunity to do what they do. Yeah. So at the moment, for those who don't know, I'm putting on a lot of events and I'm having a lot of professional musicians and artists perform, US and UK, which allows them to then mix with local artists and performance. Do you know what I mean? So people,
audiences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're tuning in to see Razcast, who was my last performer. Do you know what I mean? Legendary LA rapper, but they're performing with people from Wycombe, from Slough.
Wow.
Do you know what I'm saying?
That's what's up.
You know what I mean?
That's the blend.
And we're filming it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you can, catch up on it later.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? On the wall is artwork from A, B, and C. Do you know what I mean? Yeah? So this guy right here, you do some filming, you do some photography, come down.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's a studio upstairs, run by the guy around the corner. Raz needs to record some vocals. Raz, go upstairs.
Yeah. There you go.
Do you know what I mean? So it's all about networking and connection. And I'm still teaching. Do you know what I'm saying? And so it's not an either or situation. Do you Do you know what I mean? It's not either or. I'm still teaching, I'm still coaching, I'm doing my coffee shops, I'm doing my music, still doing my mentoring, do a little bit of even tuition on the side as well when people want their kids to get all brush up on their maths and whatever else.
That's brilliant, honestly, because what it does, it proves that, like you said, if you get the balance right, you're able to do multitude of things if you commit enough time and passion and energy into it. You know, so
got water that flower, mate.
That's so true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I said, the coffee shop. If I'd gone into Old Street and said I've lost all that money, I wouldn't have been hanging with Vasquez last week and Will.i.am and Farside last week. That wouldn't have happened had after Old Street I'd thought, no, I can't do this, it costs too much money. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's it, yeah.
Literally hanging out with Will.i.am last week.
There you go.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's because of the journey which I said, no, and I'm still watering it.
Yeah.
Still watering that situation. Do you know what I mean? And I will continue.
Yeah.
Same with my teaching, same with my football coaching. Do you know what I mean? Literally just yesterday, I was up at High Wycombe, Wycombe Wanderers.
Yeah, okay.
Wycombe Wanderers are playing MK Dons. I don't know if you know Tene Watson. Do you know Tene Watson?
Yes. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so obviously I'm not there watching Tene play for MK Dons against the Wanderers, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's nice.
You know, so this is what it's all about.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. It's like you're building these lifestyle community connections where we can be in different spaces, we can be in different places, but ultimately if we don't go out of our way to create the bonds, we don't see the benefits, we don't reap the benefits of like what we've actually created. You know, like you said, if you don't have that space and if you have a negative mindset, you know you don't have this event space now. You don't have an accessible venue to bring and educate, teach, mentor people.
I'll give you another. I mean, I'm not saying Tene's a professional footballer because of me. At all. I'm not saying that's the case. But you know, back in the day when things were getting difficult with the contracts with Sports Inc., if I didn't say to myself, "Well, how can I make this work?" and when I got my teaching degree, I wouldn't have been at Lanley Grammar when Tene turned up at Lanley Grammar. I wouldn't have been able to have any influence on him at all. It doesn't mean he wouldn't have been a professional footballer.
No, of course not.
Do you know what I mean? He may well have still.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have been at MK watching the match. Do you know what I mean? Because he's there.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's all about looking at what tools you've got inside you and what tools you need to progress to your potential so that you can, because it's all about using your potential to influence your surroundings.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
That's true. Yeah.
You know, what you're doing, your podcast, is influencing your surroundings. And now with the digital world, your surroundings isn't this. It's that.
It's that, and it's
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're using your tools, you're using your articulation, your experiences through life, your connections with the community and everything. And now there's people who you don't know who are watching this and being inspired and influenced, and you're having an impact. And then they may go out and do the next great thing. And you might not even know.
Exactly, yeah.
But you've put that seed out there.
Yeah, man.
Do you know what I mean? So it can grow. And I say to this, if everyone I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Everyone's life is different. But if you can have that positive mindset and go out there with that positive mindset, you just don't know what impact that positive mindset is going to have on the next person.
Yeah.
You might not even that situation. You're getting on a bus. You might be vexed. You might have had the worst day in the world, but you treat someone with humility,
decency.
Do you know what I'm saying? That might make their day, and they go out and has that knock-on effect. Actually, the world ain't so bad. Do you know what I mean? Go home and inspire their kid. You just don't know where it's going to be.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said he doesn't know. We definitely don't know, but what we do know is that if you put negative out, you get negative back. Absolutely. For the most part. You know, the more positive you can give, the more you can share. You're likely to, like you just said, inspire somebody. You know, make somebody's day. It in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't look big, because I think sometimes we look at things and we think, how's this going to affect me in the grand scheme of things? And a lot of the time, you can't really pay attention to that. All you can do is just small little 1% things on a day-to-day basis and hope. And you know, over time, confidence grows with that, because you think, all right. I think great example for myself, like the opportunities I've got to go to America. I trace back to my early years of football. I wasn't pushed into football. I had family, I had people, influence, all these things, and then you find it yourself.
Absolutely.
And if it wasn't for those people helping me along my journey, coaches like yourself, having my dad as a strong role model, having uncles in my family, I don't go to America. There is no degree. Then there is no podcast. So all of what I do now is a reflection of transitioning those skills from football, and that's another thing I really want to touch on while I've got you here is, you know, you've been able to do that very, very well. Is transition from the athletic sporting side of things, being a competitive athlete, to be able to create opportunities and lanes in a different avenue. So what was that like? And then also, was that also part of your passion, or would you say that it was a redirection of life? Like, did you have to change?
Yeah, so obviously you played a bit of footy, a bit of non-league stuff. And as a player, we've all played. You know, that passion for playing, the enjoyment of the competition is always a thing. But even when I played, a lot of the managers would they get annoyed? They must would get annoyed because I was always coaching. Do you know what I mean? Oh, they'd be like, well, I'm the coach, shut the hell up. You know what I mean? You know, but I'm always analysing the game and I'm thinking, man, we could be doing this or So I got into, you know, coaching teams and youngsters very early. Very
inquisitive.
Early. You know what I mean? So I started coaching my little brother's team from when I was 18.
Okay,
Do you know what I mean? And they turned out to be a very, very good team. Then obviously they were made in the base team. Then obviously the Slough lot, Sonny and Co. Were a great team as well. And so that whole situation with wanting to teach, wanting others to get to where they can get to, I think there's always been there. Do you know what I'm saying? Just having that kind of outreach approach. Do you know what I mean? I'm here to do something, but I think what I'm here to do is help other people get to where they need to go. Do you know what I mean? And that's what brings me joy. I mean, a lot of people say there's no selfless acts, which I believe, but it depends where your selfishness lies. If what makes you happy is helping others, that's a great selfish attitude to have.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean? If it's like, you know, what makes me happy is helping people, that's cool. Do you know what I mean? If what makes you happy is having as much money as I can in my pocket and don't care about no one, be different. Do you know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is the attitude which I had to playing. Everyone loves scoring a goal. Everyone loves scoring a goal. But in reality, I liked winning. Do you know what I'm saying? I was a forward. I liked winning, and anyone who played with me was like, Tone hates losing, but do you know what I mean? Right? So I'm going to do what I can do on a football pitch to help you out. You're on my team. Why am I going to chase back for you if you've got beat? Why wouldn't I do that? If you lose, we lose.
So it's an inclusive mindset.
Do you know what I'm saying? So now just open it out. Open it out. Because in life, life ain't football. In life, there's only one team. Do you know what I'm saying?
There's no.
There's only one team.
There's no rivals.
And you either got good team members or bad team members. Because we're all on the same team. You might think it's a different team. You might think, I don't know, it's whites versus blacks. It's, you know, Muslims versus Sikhs. It's, you know, this part of town. No. We're all part of the same team. And some teams are looking to get better. And some teams ain't doing that. Do you know what I mean? You know, that's like your left back not helping your left winger. Do you know what I mean?
You don't want to do the coverage.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean.
They don't make any sense. If everyone in our community works together, I want to help you out. You want to help me out. You want to help her out. She wants to help me out. That can only lead to one thing, right?
A great community.
Do you know what I'm saying? But when there's a situation whereby there ain't enough sex to go around, there ain't enough success, I better keep the success to myself.
There's not enough money to go.
Do you know what I mean? There's a problem. So for me, going back to the question is, I've always had that mindset from when I played football to then coaching. When I used to coach the Slough team in particular, a lot of them players went on to pro clubs. Do you know what I mean? You know, youth level and whatnot, and you know, some of them went on to play professional football. And everyone used to say, why don't you be an agent? You make loads of money. Why don't you get them on contracts? You make loads of money. I'm not doing it to make the money. I get paid. I've got a job. I'm doing it so they can get to where they can get to. Do you know what I mean?
That's deep. That's the selflessness that you're talking about.
You know? And it's the same thing with a coffee shop. I wanted somewhere for myself to hang out. But I wanted somewhere positive to hang out. I wanted somewhere where it doesn't matter whether you're old, young, black, white, you know what I mean, Muslim, Jewish. You're going to come in, you're going to feel welcomed.
Yeah.
You're going to feel welcomed.
Yeah.
And if you come in here with a positive attitude, your positivity is only going to be multiplied by that person's positivity. But if you come in with a negative attitude, you're most probably not going to stay.
Yeah.
You're most probably not even going to enjoy it because you're going to feel that
warmth.
That kind of, it's a bit of conflict.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Do you know what I mean? If you're going to come in and think I'm a servant to you, you're in the wrong place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to know that straight away. When you come in and I say hello to you, and you come with a negative reply, you're going to know you're not going to feel comfortable here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I hear you. I hear where you're coming from, because you don't have to, like you said, it goes back to not having to slap people in the face of your culture, not having to slap people in the face of who you are. You be who you are and be proud of that, and you will attract the people who will respect that.
And so people will come into the shop, and like a lot of people, when they hear about the coffee shop, they think it's all black people in the shop. It's all people into hip hop in the shop. Nah. The most common people in my shop are old white people. Do you know what I mean? Because that's who's about during the day.
Yeah. Having their cups of tea.
Do you know what I mean? They come in and sit down, and they're regular. 2-3 times a week you see these old couples come in, sit down, and anything could be played. Do you know what I mean? And, sometimes I have documentaries on, sometimes I have the music on, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? People come in for their meetings, and all this kind of stuff. Because I'm not going to fake who I am. I'm not going to fake what I'm about. This is what it is. Oh, you should do this and you should do that. Why? Because then you get, no. This is what it is. If they want that, then it's over there. Because there's enough success for everybody.
Precisely.
I don't need to copy what they're doing to take their success.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Do you know what I'm saying?
It's a great point. It's almost like that we try to we take things and we try to conform it back to what we know is common, which is accepted, all these different things, as opposed to practicing and encouraging people to be who they are and then supporting that.
And this is where I don't want to say educating yourself, that's all wrong. Is that the right word? Why do you educating yourself on the best way to be who you are? Do you know what I'm saying? So I've got a coffee shop. It's got certain cultural aspects to it. It's still a business. If I don't understand business, I can't make this vision work. So I'm not going to be silly with it. Do you know what I mean? No, I'm just going to do it my way. There's still certain things I need to go and research and understand.
Facts.
Do you know what I'm saying?
100%.
And some people fall out on that part of it. Do you know what I mean? So for all the guys out there and girls out there who are trying to make brands, make products, do your research in business. Do your research in marketing. Don't think you're just going to do your own way, because there's science to it as well. There's psychology to this. Do you know what I mean? And there's maths. Do you know what I'm saying?
Facts and figures.
So yes, be yourself. Stick to your passions and your principles, but do your education around that and your research around it to get the best potential out of it. Is what you're trying to do. Do you know what I mean?
No, I like that. I mean, I really want you to touch on one main important point, which I think has been kind of cropping up lately, is because of the social media and the way that it is now. It's a lot more of viral content, trendy based content, things in the know, all of these sorts of things. And I think there's becoming more of a trend of disagreeable content. I've had a few people say online that in order to create interesting content, we have to sit here and argue for an hour and a half in order to get views and attention. And there is some reality to that because of the conditioning and how we are today, but I don't think it's healthy and I don't think it's sustainable. So I think that it can be done in short moments, but when we want to build things, like you just said, when you walk into your coffee shop, if it was we got to argue with every customer, where do we get to? You know what I mean? So what's your thoughts on that, this disagreeableness, and how in what place do you think it is acceptable and can be worked on, and then in what places do you think we need to be like, let's forego that?
Right, so this goes back to something I said right near the start of this podcast. You have to learn how to disagree with people. You know what I'm saying? Because it's perfectly okay to not hold the same opinion. and it's almost essential that there are different opinions. You know what I'm saying? But some people don't know how to hold an opinion, as different opinion to someone, and still have that conversation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Now, when it comes to the content, I think it's important to have content that demonstrates two sides of this argument, whatever argument you're having. I think it's important. But it's also important to show how you can have that discussion without degrading each other.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? So, for instance, going back to the discussion, which I think is massive at the moment, real big one, it's a gender situation.
Yeah, it is very big.
This comes up in my coffee shop all the time.
Yeah.
Every week.
Okay.
Every week, it will just pop up like organically.
Yeah.
Just organically.
Yeah.
And I hear all different sides to it.
Yeah.
And no one ever falls out.
There you go.
No one ever falls out because it's questions.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's questions.
It's not that closed off
Yeah,
thing, like
do you know
you
what I
said
mean?
earlier, of like, this is the only way.
This is you're stupid. If you don't believe me, you must be dumb. Do you know what I mean? If you don't agree with me, you're one of the sheep.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That don't make no sense.
Yeah.
But let's take Arsenal.
Yeah.
Right? And you're an Arsenal man, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. So if I say to you, Man City are better than Arsenal, right? That's my opinion, right? And you say, no, Arsenal are better than Man City. My question to you is, why do you think Arsenal are better than Man City? No, you're dumb, mate. It's City, innit? Do you get what I'm saying? So now we're having a discussion. You say, well, I think Arsenal are better because
Should be able to back up your points, basically.
Which goes back to what I was saying. And I'll be, yeah, but Man City are. So now you flip that into any discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah? You take up the gender debate, right? So the most recent one was about the Olympic Committee not allowing transgender women to compete in women's sports.
Yes, I heard about that.
Yeah. So I turn around and say, oh, I agree with the Olympic Committee's decision. And you say, no, I disagree. So then I say, oh, you're wrong. No, I say, oh, why do you disagree? What is it you disagree with? What are you, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then you're putting your views forward. Then it's up to me to take in what you've said and then either come again with some other questions to clarify what you mean. Or for you to say, okay, so why do you feel it's a correct decision?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'll put, do you know what I mean? And you're backing up what you're saying.
Yeah.
So going back to what you're saying in regards to should it be out there as much, I think it should, because to get understanding, you must understand both sides. You have to understand both sides.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And for me, no topic should be off the table.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, you should be able to have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
The problem is we don't have this. That's wrong. Let me rephrase that. A lot of us don't have skills enough and the tools to articulate what we want to articulate in a way that's respectful.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I agree. 1000%. And I think that is a lot to do with, like what you said earlier about the researching and the homework. Because when you're well educated on a point, there's degrees of understanding, if there is. You know, same way if I sat down, or we was to sit down with a physicist and he was to tell us about the planet. And what would we do to argue with him? We could ask questions, but we couldn't tell him his points of view are wrong when he's that much more educated than us. And I think that's what we need to blend a little bit more as a society as well.
I'm going to give you a mad one right here. So, perfect example. So I will, people who know me will know I will often argue the point I don't agree with. Right? Just for two reasons. One, to see, do you really believe what you're saying? Even though I agree with you, I agree with you, but you don't know I agree with you. But do you really believe it, or you are just saying what you've heard? And secondly, to reinforce my own belief.
Yeah, I get you.
Do you know what I'm saying? So this is what I think is right, but I'm going to argue against it to see what people can put. You know what I mean? Because maybe
it's almost like lawyers when they argue against their own case.
Exactly.
To get themselves better.
Exactly. So. You may or may not heard this. You may not agree with it, right? So there's a flat Earth society, right? And a lot of flat Earthers out there. Okay. Anyhow, so my thing about the whole flat Earth globe debate, is
that one?
This one right here, is I'm not going to stand in front of a flat Earth believer and say you're dumb, you're stupid, you're whatever.
Yeah.
What I'm going to say is, what is the proof, right? But at the same time, I'm going to say, I can't prove the world was a globe. I can't prove it's a globe. It's just what I've chose to go along with. Do you know what I'm saying? It's what I've chose to go along with. So yesterday, I had a pilot in a coffee shop.
Okay.
And I says to her, because I got you here, I got to ask you this question. You know what I mean?
Let me see.
You know what I mean? I said, I have to put this out there first because people think you're crazy otherwise. I said, first of all, I'm not saying the world's flat.
Yeah.
But how would you prove it's a globe?
Good question.
So I said, because you're a pilot, when you fly, can you see the curve of the Earth? She said no. But it's a globe. I'm like, why is it a globe? How do you know it's a globe then if you can't see the curve of the Earth? You know, what's convinced you?
Math, science.
Well, the maths and science, in theory, is based on what we've been told.
Okay. So they could try to discredit that if.
Do you know what I mean?
And say, they lied to you.
Right, or the maths. So maths works in a strange way because you can get to the same answer using very different things.
True. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like 2 + 2 = 4. 1 + 3 = 4.
Exactly. Right. So you got that whole scenario, right? So I got into it with her, but I was not arguing. I was questioning.
Yeah.
From a flat earther's perspective, even though it's not what I necessarily agree with.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but I'm using someone else's knowledge to try and reinforce what I might already have accepted.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So these are, I'm throwing all types of stuff at her.
Of course,
and some of them, she got kind of baffled with, if I'm honest.
Okay.
Because she was saying certain things, and I was like, so, but wouldn't that be the same if the world was flat? She was like, okay. So for instance, one of the things she was saying was about when you fly, there's a horizon. Yeah. And there can only be a horizon if the Earth dips away.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
And why you would see forever.
Yeah, technically.
Do you know what I'm saying?
It's that perspective. Yeah, I remember that from art. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but that would also be the case if the world was like this. If it wasn't like that, it was just like that. There would still be a horizon. She was like, okay, yeah. Like, so the horizon dial that you use, does it change and address the curvature of the Earth? Because obviously,
if you're moving in a straight line, you would assume
it would have to address that situation.
Yeah, you would assume. I mean, obviously, depending on things like because we don't even understand what gravity is yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so her thing was, I don't know. I just know that I use this to fly the plane.
I get you. So
I don't really know how that works.
Yeah, so she hasn't asked those questions.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the point I'm going back to is, you can have real deep conversations without disrespecting anyone.
Yeah. Based on your level of, how inquisitive are you?
Inquisitive. How you go about it?
Are you willing for your ways of thinking to be challenged?
Absolutely. That's another. And have you got the right questions to ask?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is so true.
You know what I mean? And so in answer to the question, I think it's almost essential that there is footage of debates for people to get a greater understanding. Having a sound bubble that you live in is never going to be a winner.
Yeah.
I'm not massively active on social media, but I will definitely follow things which might be controversial to my thoughts.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
So I want to know
what others think.
I want to know why do you think that is the case?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Why do you think that is the case? Why are you coming at it like this?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Whereas if for instance, a big thing for me is the issues surrounding racism.
Yeah.
And even in a world like we live in now, you kind of think, how can people still be racist?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's so much information to demonstrate that it don't make sense to be racist.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you might not be fond of certain people, but not be fond of a whole group of people because of made up situation makes no sense. And say but people are.
Yeah, people are. Yeah.
And so, if I don't really follow anything that feeds into their thoughts, how will I be able to have that conversation when I come across them?
You won't.
Do you know what I'm saying?
You won't. Which is why I think we probably can have these conversations, because you've been willing to explore that, just like myself. I've been willing to explore because of that good foundation from an early age. We can explore out, understand who we are, but still be willing to ask questions of others. And that lack of ignorance is what I think helps create the education.
And then, and on top of that, you have to have a confidence in yourself to challenge views which you feel are in need of being challenged.
Okay, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, for instance, especially working in a public domain like a coffee shop, people will come in and say stuff which is bananas, and they don't realise they're being crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So sometimes it might be as I don't know, flirting as someone come in and says, "Oh, there was a nice coloured lady in here last week."
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
And I have to be like, yeah, you might not want to be using that word anymore. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, but in a way that
it's not seen as like I'm attacking
I'm
you.
not punching you in your face.
Yeah, I'm not.
And then you get into a little conversation as to why it's not really appropriate. Then hopefully she leaves with
a little bit more information.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, to make an informed decision.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you saying, man. It's instead of just, this person's that.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
And then it didn't go.
Because, like I say, a lot of people aren't exposed to a number of positive influences. Do you know what I mean? And that could be from anywhere. Do you know what I mean? So, and also, not even just positive, I mean, educational influences. Do you know what I'm saying? A lot of people's education is just school.
Yeah, they don't.
And we all know that, school can be the biggest hindrance on that person's education.
Yeah, depending on how they learn.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, if your own education is school and you're 65, you've only been around other white people, you might not know how to act. It doesn't mean you hate black folk.
Yeah.
But because of your education, you will be intrinsically racist. And what that means, that doesn't mean that you run around and want to beat up black folk and Asian folk.
Yeah.
It means your version of events, your perception of where these different groups of people fit into society,
it's just completely
is based on this hierarchy of racism.
Yeah.
Without you even knowing.
Yeah. You need to be convinced
through
examples before you change your
mind.
You know what I mean? Yeah, as opposed to knowing up front.
Exactly, because you're already thinking whatever you're thinking about, Asians, Muslims, blacks, Jews, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Thinking Jamaicans in Africa. Do you know what I mean? And all these kind of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's where your education's at.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
And so you're coming in. You're not even hating me, but you just think, in the back of your brain somewhere, you've got hierarchy.
Yes, of importance.
And you've put the whole of the black community in a certain pot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So when you see, I'll give you a perfect example of mad stuff. So it might be, someone might think, and this might be black folk as well.
Yeah. I was about to.
Let's not get it twisted.
Sides,
right?
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm talking about black folk thinking about black folk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
So I know right now, Castleview Primary School, has a black head teacher.
Okay.
Black man.
Yeah.
Right? Now we're like, ooh, because we're kind of surprised. We're surprised because we wasn't expecting it to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Now the question is what are people's views on that person's ability to do that job?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I know exactly where you're going with this. Yeah.
What are their views on it? They might not be sitting there thinking, I hate black people. But what are people thinking? What are their views of that?
That's another layer of it.
Do you know what I mean?
That's almost like we're touching on not just the black and white element of it. We're almost touching on the details of how you're viewed in certain rooms and your competence level.
Yeah. Imagine this scenario. Anyone, could be you, could be me, could be whoever, goes on check a trade and they need a plumber. and they get a plumber, type it in, the plumber accepts the job, and the plumber turns up. Is there a difference in confidence when I open the door and it's a black guy, or a Polish guy, or an Asian guy, or a dude with a turban, or someone who can't speak English so well, or a woman?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? What prejudices or prejudgments would you have when you open that door and you see a certain person?
Yeah. Well, I would like to add in. I think it's multi-layered when you say that, because I think that we get trapped in one layer and we don't recognize there's multiple. For example, it could be they just don't like them. They're ignorant. They're just racist. They don't like that group. Fine. Then it could be I'm not that, but isn't dressed professionally. Isn't dressed the way I expect to see them look. Doesn't sound the way I expect them to see. Do you see how the layers come a little bit deeper?
Okay, flip it. So you've turned up as a black plumber. Yeah.
But I've got a good example.
And you get a bad vibe of the Asian guy who's just opened the door. Asian woman just opened the door. You get a bad vibe. They kind of look you up and down and be like, "Yo, what's your first thought?" It's most probably, and I'm absolutely generalising here.
Yeah.
Wow, this person don't like black folk. But it could be you ain't dressed appropriately.
Could be what came out of your mouth.
Right? So. Yeah? So, when the white guy turns up at the white person's house, and they look them up and down, they're not going to think, oh, it's because I'm white. But when the black guy turns up, that thought might come to their head.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When the white plumber turns up at the black person's house, and the black woman looks up and down, the white plumber isn't thinking it's because I'm white. Because in his head, I'm the norm.
I was going to say, yeah. So it can't be.
It can't be because I'm white. Why are you looking me up and down? What? Because I'm white.
No.
What were you expecting?
Yeah.
So now he's thinking, what else could be going on? Now maybe they're Polish. Oh, you don't like Polish people. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
these prejudices are there, and like I say, there are certain things like how you dress, how you talk, how you carry yourself, your body language, which are universal.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I've got no issue with someone coming and thinking, no, you ain't dressed appropriately, I don't feel confident in you. Do you know what I'm saying? I get that. But the ethnic attribute is irrelevant for your attitude towards that person, whether they can plumb or not.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Do you know what I'm saying? The rest of those things, I get it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
They're personalised.
Do you know what I mean? But your ethnicity should not affect whether that person has confidence in you, whether you can do that job or not.
Yeah,
and that's totally informed by what we expect of our social norms.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I've heard a whole heap of black people talk about black professionals, whether they're contractors, whether they're this, negatively because they're talking about a black person. I've yet to hear a white person do it. Oh, I wouldn't trust a white person to do this.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's an isolating figure where it's a generalisation.
Do you know what I mean?
Overrides a whole group, and then it changes the social norm.
And it's a tricky one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that has to be addressed, but it can only be addressed through conversation.
Yeah.
And it can't be shied away from.
No, it can't.
Otherwise, it will never be addressed. Yeah. Like a lot of people keep coming to me in the coffee shop because we have all these coffee conversations, and more people than I would assume bring up Morgan Freeman. Like he's a go-to for what black people should think, right? Strange, right? Morgan Freeman. Okay. I'm not really a fan of Morgan Freeman as a spokesperson for black issues.
Yeah, not
personally. Right? And there's a famous kind of clip of him saying, someone says, how do we get rid of racism? And he's like, stop talking about it. Stop talking about it.
Yeah. No? That's a very flippant reaction. It's almost like very childish.
Yeah.
So, it will just fix itself.
Yeah. Well, he's flipping international flipping actor. He ain't got much issues going that's going to cause him an issue for being black.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? So, I'm literally the opposite. I'm like, you have to talk about it.
Yeah, you do.
I'm not talking about just moaning and crying. I'm talking about actually talking about the situation and why it's there.
And agreed, having a conversation, because when you have the conversation you're able to ask those questions.
Absolutely.
That's what, for me, that's why I get a little bit frustrated when I see a lot of race talks and conversations online, because they tend to end up being about pointing a finger and then who done what wrong, and then it's just basically a back and forth, as opposed to, why is it that you think that, and why is it that this is a norm, and why is it that I have this perceived expectation already.
Absolutely. And like I say, like the whole, like I said, the racial issues and issues surrounding race, I've been kind of like in and around that for years and years and years. And it is a discussion that people need to have, because they need to understand that it's not about black people or any marginalised community taking a position of a victim. It's not about that.
Yeah, victim mindset is no good.
It's about the discrimination, why there's the discrimination, and how to eradicate that discrimination. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of it comes down to the norm, right? So when I did my sports degree, there was a question in one of the modules, and it said, I can't remember what the philosopher or psychologist is called, but he has a quote, and it says, "There's nothing more powerful than being normal." Discuss in the realms of sport. So that was the question.
Okay.
And what it's getting at is real simple things. So things like, are black people fast? Yeah, black people are fast. I'm not saying they are.
No, I know what you're saying.
Right? Black people are fast. Like, so for black people to be fast, that means it's not the norm. You know what I'm saying? Whatever black people are doing in the realms of running, that ain't the norm. So if black people are considered the norm, taking the same stereotype of black people being fast, then the sentence should be white people are slow. Right?
If it's the norm.
If it's the norm.
Yeah.
So black people are fast, but black people can't swim. Right? It's still coming from what they consider the norm to be. Do you know what I'm saying? So we're not saying, wow, these white folks have got like some kind of extra lungs and gills, and do you know what I mean? Because that's the norm. Yeah. So we're looking at ourselves even away from what the norm is. Yeah.
So we're minimising what we could already be before.
What the thing is because the norm in this particular scenario is based on ethnicity, which makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because as we know, if you study anthropology, you'll study it's all about culture and it's all about where you come from.
Absolutely. And so this, and it falls into all types of things. You know, if you get rid of the ethnicity, you got tall, short, you got big, small, you got whatever.
There's always going to be something.
You've got plumbers.
Yeah.
So your normal plumber is a white guy, not a white woman. Do you know what I mean? So white women, are going to be talked about in relation to the white man who's a plumber. So are white women good at plumbing? I don't know. Well, what's the norm? These are the norm. Do you know what I'm saying? So is there anything more powerful than being normal? Not in acceptance, no. Not if you want to be the group to be accepted and to be looked after and to be make sure you're okay.
Yeah, that's deep, because otherwise you're the anomaly.
Do you know what I mean?
You're the outcast in a way, the ugly duckling.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I say, having these discussions, if you don't talk about it, so we know that racial issues are all about what people consider the norm to be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's where the discrimination comes, because you ain't normal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
You're not normal, I'm normal, you're not normal.
The narrative is.
Do you know what I mean? That's the narrative in their head.
Yeah.
And they might not even understand that's where it's coming from. But that's where the belief is. And so until you have that discussion for them to understand, oh shit. Yeah, actually that is a thing.
Yeah.
That is a thing.
That is a difference.
Do you know what I mean? So when I see, I can't remember his name, the guy who's now head teacher at Castleview, I'm not thinking anything different. I'm just thinking they've got a new head teacher.
Yeah, exactly. You're not thinking anything because your mind is not thinking it that way, but unfortunately the majority.
Do you know what I mean?
They will.
I'm not thinking, what if he's going to be any good?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't he be good?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't he be rubbish? Why shouldn't he be?
Yeah, why is there's a different way of thinking about him, but if there's another person comes in, there's a completely different judgment for the same job.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get what you mean. That's where really the racial disparity begins, isn't it? It's almost when we place ourselves in different positions.
Yeah.
That's a deep conversation. I mean, like you said.
But this is why conversations have to happen. This is why I think it's important that, when you are talking about a particular topic, that you do show both sides.
That's absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? That you do show. I say both sides. There may be multiple sides.
There are multiple sides. Yeah, exactly. Like it could be two people, but whoever's in the conversation, basically.
Yeah. But like I say, I think it's important. So, for instance, let's say you're talking about, I don't know, should heading be banned from football, which is
a conversation.
It most probably will be in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
There might probably not be no heading in football.
Yeah. Surprised.
That you have enough people for the people watching the conversation to understand all the different points of view.
Yeah, moving parts.
That's what I'm saying. Because if we're both sitting there saying, man, heading's fine, then the people watching are going to be like, okay, now, what have we learned? Do you know what I mean?
As opposed to, let's actually question.
Like, if he said something that's interesting, and then, I oppose that with a theory or a thought or a fact or whatever, and then you come back with something else, and then this person interjects with, about X, Y, Z and ABC.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So when the people are watching, they have that rounded thing to go away with.
Holistic view.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because the only other way you can do that is to watch one thing from one view, and then turn off, watch something else with the other view, turn off, jump in and then try and put it all together.
Yeah, and then it's different times.
It's difficult.
And when you're listening to information at different times, you're in a different space too. So
absolutely. And what you're not getting is those individuals combating each other's point. So I might hear someone say, I don't know, the footballs, everyone they've looked at with dementia, who played football, is in their 70s. Therefore, when they were playing, it was 50 years ago. 50 years ago, they were using different footballs.
Yeah, footballs. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He had a different healthcare, ate differently. Right, so I've heard all of that, but I've not heard anyone else speak to that person about that particular issue. When if they're in the same room, then that's what I want to see.
Yes, I get you.
Do you know what I'm saying? And that's with any topic. If someone brings up something, I need to hear the counter argument to that thing. Do you know what I mean? So I can say, oh, okay. Now I can go away and do a little bit more research, read up on it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
I get you. Yeah, so it's not being afraid to challenge your viewpoints, and but we need to do it in a way that is not denigrating or disrespectful.
Yeah, it needs to be. There's a sophistication to debating and to discussing and even arguing. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because an argument is an argument, but there's a sophistication and having an articulation about it. And I understand passion can be involved, and so voices may get raised. I get that, but you can still do that with a respect. You can still be passionate with respect.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
You definitely can.
Without having to put people down and get all personal about them and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like the thing about calling everyone a sheep because you don't agree with me, I find that bizarre.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Because if you do agree with me, then does that mean you're a sheep to me now?
Who am I, the shepherd?
Do you know what I mean? So you have to give people respect of their own opinion, even if you disagree with it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, I disagree with you,
but here's why.
But here's why I disagree with you. And if you still hold that thought, okay,
that's fine. Yeah,
but there is this.
Yeah.
That you can think about. All of this that you can think about.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I like that.
I think it's important, and like I say, it's important for kids to learn that as well from a very young age.
Yeah.
That just because you believe something or want something doesn't mean it's correct, and doesn't mean you should have it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
True.
I want a new whatever.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna get it.
Exactly.
And that's okay for you not to get it.
And to learn.
Do you know what I mean? And learn, it's okay to not have everything you want, to not be agreed with all the time.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, not always be right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's deep. That is deep. I mean, boy, yeah, Tone, I mean, the way I like the way that you're able to obviously break down the points, but more importantly, this is why having diverse types of people that come from different arenas is very, very key. So when you are watching content, everyone has a different style, has a different flavour, has a different approach. But what I like to do is try to massage and find ways of eking out education. So it doesn't have to be full entertainment. It doesn't have to be full persuasion, informal. We don't have to stay rigid. I think there's fluidity in being able to bring people who bring a little bit more of a light-hearted, comedic style of it, and you can learn. Some people learn fantastic from them. Some people need it to be more written down and formal. I need the notes. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's something to be said about bringing different types of characters and people on, and like you said, time materializing over years. You know, like we've had this. We're talking about from me being 8-9 years old when you first me. I'm 31 now. This is what we're talking about. So the time it takes to get to where we're at to where we want to get to, so we can have these conversations, is also key as well. You know, so you know, I'd like to thank you for willing to come out. And before we finish, I really want to leave it the last bit for you to kind of reach out to the local community, young boys coming up, maybe the younger version of yourself, who might be coming up in this current time. So that where do I go? What do I do? Where do I start?
I mean, I think depending on what age you're at. I mean, if we're talking like high school age, I think a key thing in high school age is to understand it's never too young to start understanding yourself. You know what I'm saying? And actually understanding yourself, understanding your passions, your desires, your dreams. And it's important, almost essential for me, that you have dreams. You have dreams. You might not have a plan yet, but you have dreams, you have ambitions. Because that's what's going to give you that drive in life. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have them ambitions and those dreams, where's your drive? And then, like I say, understanding what is purposeful to you, and understanding. Well, by the time in the system we're in, if we didn't have the system we're in, it would be different. But in the system we're in, there's age limits. I mean, there's limits to this. So 16, 18, you know what I'm saying? Your education changes. I mean, your formal education changes. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's important by those kind of ages to really start understanding the world. Do you know what I'm saying? Because very soon you're going to be in it. Do you know what I mean?
And then it's going to be moving.
So you need to understand the role of money. The importance of money. And when I say importance of money, I'm not saying money is important. I'm saying the importance of what it is, where it goes, who does it, what it is to you, and all the rest of it, how to get it, what to do with it, what not to do with it. Do you know what I mean? And it's all those kind of things. Understanding your beliefs. You know, you won't have a carved in stone belief, and your beliefs will change with your experiences. But at least start looking into it. Do you know what I mean? And that's key, because that will then allow you to go down the route you want to go down. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise you're just going to be shooting in the dark. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be like taking a penalty after someone spinning you around and putting a blindfold on you. Do you know what I mean? They say take a penalty. Do you know what I mean? You're like, okay, I don't even know if I can even kick the ball.
Or stand up.
Do you know what I mean? So until you have a understanding of the landscape that you're within, life will look very scary. I wrote, for those of you who don't know, I write raps, and I wrote a little song the other day, and one of the lines is, it says, I'll say the line, it says, parents, please start parenting. Communities, start sharing things. Kids are scared of life because we ain't properly preparing them. They talk, but we ain't hearing them. We act like we be scared of them. If we ain't gonna do it, who the hell is gonna care for them?
That's bars.
Do you know what I'm saying? And what I'm talking about there is we need to water these plants that are the youngsters to allow them. If we don't nurture them, how are they going to know? Okay, you know what? Actually, I do need to think about myself. I do need to maybe understand whether it's spirituality I'm into, whether it's science I'm into, whether it's this way. Maybe Islam's the way for me. Maybe it's Christian. But you know, give them all these things to nurture them. what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when they go out into the world, they've actually got an understanding of the landscape. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're there to guide them through it.
That's it.
Do you know what I'm saying? But they need to, they're the only ones who can take the steps.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
With the tools, but they need to go out there and
Exactly. So for the youngsters out there, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, arm yourself with those tools. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give yourself the opportunities. Open as many pathways as you can. Because like you know, before we started the podcast, I was talking about choice.
That's it. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Give yourself options. Give yourself choices. You know, I'm not all about A levels and GCSEs. I'm not all about that at all. But they give you choices. Do you get what I'm saying?
Very true. Very true.
They give you choices. You might not ever use them.
That's it.
But they give you choices.
Give you options.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get your driving license. You might not want to drive. But if you need to, you have that choice. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the more choices you have, so the more options you have,
Yeah.
mixed with the knowledge of the landscape, the better choices you'll be able to make.
Yeah, I like that. That's poignant.
Do you get what I'm saying? If I've only got 2 choices, and I only know about one of them, have I really got the 2 choices?
One choice, bro. Yes, I had to say.
Do you know what I mean?
One choice. Well, yeah, exactly.
If I only know this
your
one,
mind will tell you, I
do you know
have
what I mean?
one choice. It won't say, the other choice is
Do you
optional.
know what I'm saying? If I've got 2 choices and I'm aware of 2 choices, but I don't know how to navigate the second choice, have I got 2 choices?
Yeah. No. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So give yourself as many options as possible.
Yeah.
Give yourself as many tools as possible, and that will give you the option to make the better choices that you can make. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I say to all youngsters. And go attack everything with a positive attitude. And that's hard. Because life ain't always easy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know, life ain't easy at all. I mean, I've been through times where it was very difficult.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Very, very, very difficult. And I could have made some very different choices along the way. Very different choices. But at the forefront of all my decisions is positivity. Do you know what I mean? I don't know why.
Yeah.
I can't say where I've got that from.
Yeah.
But it always has been.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? From young. And I could have chosen different routes numerous times.
Yeah.
But I didn't. And I'm not saying I did the right thing. I'm not saying I did the wrong thing. What I'm saying is I'm where I am, and I'm happy where I am.
There you go.
Do you know what I'm saying? I'm very content with where I am.
Yeah.
I look at myself and I think, I think I'm an okay guy.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
doing your work.
I think I'm an okay guy. Not so that I'm super successful in all the rest. I just think I'm a decent person, and I treat people decently.
Good morals.
Do you know what I'm saying? And there's very few people who can say, I've treated them in a way which is untoward. Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong.
You got to defend.
If you act up,
you got to defend your honour, man.
do you know what I'm saying? If you act up, then I'll act appropriately.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But before anyone does anything silly, it's all love.
That's it.
And that will continue till the day I'm gone.
Yeah, man.
Do you know what I'm saying? But you were talking about before, them ladders and them bridges. You know what I mean? We're talking 20 years deep.
It's crazy, man.
Do you know what I'm saying?
This really is. Like, to think that I was a youngster, I wasn't even cognitive the first time that I met you, of what life is.
Yeah.
And to think now I can have these conversations, it's like
20 years later.
Purposeful.
Do you know what I'm saying? And again, the important part before we disappear, I'm going to go back to that point which I said is so important, is the generational thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, they don't do that generational gap business. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm grown man, you can't tell me nothing, I've got 20 years on you. Of course you can.
Of course.
That don't make no sense.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And see
Do you know what I mean?
The ego, remove.
You know what I mean? And vice versa. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'll talk with 14-year-old kids, teach me something.
Yeah.
What is this TikTok business? I need to know.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Or what is the newest thing that's going on? You got your finger on the pulse, I haven't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Why is this crew feeling like this or thinking like that? Do you know what I mean? If I, like, for instance, if I want to know about why there's troubles going on between this ward and that ward in Slough Town, I can't make that up on my own mind.
They're doing this, they're doing that. You
Do you
don't
know
know
what I mean?
anything.
I've got to go and
Speak to the
speak to the youngsters.
Yeah.
And they got to hear me, I got to hear them. And that's why this is so valuable.
That's it.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because this is a demonstration of exactly that.
That's, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When I was your age, you were 10.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's mad.
You know what I mean? So there's a 10-year-old right now
Yeah.
running around the park somewhere,
Yeah.
who, when you're my age, hopefully you're going to be talking with them.
Oh man, that would be amazing. Honestly,
do you know what I'm saying?
That stuff would warm my heart, honestly, because it's the opportunities, like we said, man. You don't know how you change somebody's life through a few small interactions.
Absolutely,
you never know. So, I thank you big time for that, big man. But more importantly, the people need to know where they can find your coffee shop.
Okay, yeah. So coffee shop, Tone Coffee Shop. You can Google it. In High Wycombe, Baker Street, Des Box, Unit 1. Decent parking around there. At the moment, open 10 till 4. Monday to Saturday. Going to be Sundays very shortly. Instagram, Tone Coffee Shop. Twitter, Tone Coffee Shop. Facebook, Tone Coffee Shop. Website, www.tonecoffeeshop.co.uk. Email info tonecoffeeshop.co.uk. And look out for the events. We've got plenty of events. In fact, the next event coming up, we've got a New York MC called El the Sensei, part of the Artifacts crew, RIP Team 1. And that's a Sunday, the 21st of May. Cool. So if you're not doing anything, or even if you are doing something, you might want to change your plans. Sunday, the 21st of May, and it's free. It's free, so he's passing through, and there's going to be another crew called Rap Exchange.
Nice.
They're London based. We've got a Slough guy, Anyway to God.
Okay,
So he's part of Rap Exchange, so he's going to be performing that day. And another guy called Lean, a Wycombe guy, freestyler, all on the bill on the Sunday, the 21st of May, Tone Coffee Shop, High Wycombe.
There you go. So that's see, this is what we're talking about, right? Like manifesting, creating, going out, doing the work, and then you get to a point where spaces are multi-use. You maybe had the intention when you first started to just do the coffee shop. Now look, you manifest, you create other things,
absolutely,
other opportunities for people, and After You Cast is definitely one of those things. If it wasn't for Tone, I wouldn't know where I would have started, and maybe it would have still materialised, but who knows? Who knows what circumstances?
Everything is cause and effect, man.
1,000%.
Everything's cause and effect.
1,000%. So yeah, guys, make sure you go support my brother here and go check out the coffee shop. If you're local, you're Slough, obviously you know who we are. Definitely go check it out over in Wycombe. But if not, you can check it out on the socials. And if you're ever, I know I've got some of my American followers might be listening. If you're ever over and stuff, hit me up. And, if you want a nice little cool spot to hang out, my American crowd will respect it. They're into the hip hop and the music and stuff. So all of that. But man, overall, these, as I said before when we started this conversation, these conversations are, this is more fluid. This is more about passing of the baton of knowledge, not so much the passing of the financial reins and controls of things. Because I think once you understand, like Tone said earlier, about how the environment works, the landscape of the environment that you're in, you can make those better, well-informed decisions, you know what I mean? And I think that's really what this platform's all about, and I'm very passionate about making that happen. So, big thank you for everyone who's been checking in and tapping in, liking, sharing, subscribing to the channel over the last couple of seasons. And now we're back. Season 3 is back, so we've got a wicked lineup of people, and we're just going to keep continuing to do what we're doing, staying consistent, creating these opportunities and lanes for each other, and just shouting each other out when we get the chance. You know what I mean, brother?
No doubt.
So Tone Coffee Shop, man. Tony Thompson, thank you in the house.
You're welcome.
Much love, and
peace and love.
We will see you beautiful people on the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this. Peace and love.
Bless.
Yeah.
All good.
Love, brother.